Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I guess we will start. First thing we're going to do is approve the minutes from the last meeting, which was November 21st. So the minutes have been distributed. I'll make a motion. I'll make the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Don, we'll start with you, Charlie.
I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, I approve. Yes.
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 All right, minutes are approved. And we will go to the first case on our agenda tonight, which is Luthra, 1500 Lane South. Do we have anybody on that case?
Good evening. Yes, this is Gene Vitrano with the Site Design Consultants. I'm here representing Dr. Luthra and his wife. If I can figure out how to share my screen. Can you see that screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Shall I just start with the each item as addressed by the last letter from the building department?
Sure, it's been a while, so why don't you refresh our memory on this?
All right, and again, this is actually my third appearance
Okay.
before the zoning board of appeals. I know that there was an issue that in one of the notifications, I
was
believe
properly-
the coverage wasn't or the notification didn't note the existing fountain. So I think
Yes.
you had to go back and revisit the site, and hopefully you were able to do that. So the first issue is that we're looking to document an existing fountain, garden walls, and landscaping curb. They exceed the allowable coverage. What happened was, again, I'll repeat that when we went to planning, the documents that were available at the building department had a survey that was completed by Riley Land Surveyors back in 2009. And since then, Riley now is not in business any longer. Ward Carpenter took over all their surveys. When we went and did the calculations for coverage, based on AutoCAD calculations, we came up with a coverage of back in 2009 of 4,997 square feet. With that being said, there was a project filed for in 2010. Whoever the previous designer was, he was granted a variance for coverage of 4,647 square feet. So there was a difference of 350 square feet from the survey that was on file at the building department versus the variance that was granted by the zoning board of appeals. When I was before planning, I mentioned this to Doug Hahn of Hahn Engineering, since obviously they reviewed all of our documents before the planning board. He told me to just go ahead and submit the data as I calculated it based on the 2009 survey. So we're starting off with an issue where the previous variance that was granted wasn't accurate based upon the survey that was on file at the building department. With that being said, 2 days after the last meeting, I went to the building department, discussed with Ed, and Sarah also told me there was nothing else on file in that residence's building file that showed anything different than this 2009 survey, and there was no record of the variance that I could find. With that being said, we commissioned, as a matter of fact, let me go to the sheet. We commissioned.
So then how do you, let me just stop you just for a second. So how do you know the variance that was granted was for 4,647
Because
square
it was
feet?
on the document that's on file in the building department.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right, gotcha.
so when he did his
So-
calculations, he had that noted on his cover sheet, with the date. And it was for
Right, so the
4,647.
The discrepancy is with the coverage, not the variance.
Right. Well, right. It was the coverage that he noted, and that's what the variance was granted for, what he noted. But then again, when we went and calculated it based on this survey, which is the only one that was on file, the coverage was actually 4,997. So
Is
there
that
was
without,
some
the
350 square feet somewhere that I can't tell you where it came from.
but
So
is that without the fountain? Is that without the fountain? Can you hear me?
Yes, that was without the fountain, correct. That was this survey here. So you'll see this, the fountain is located in this area,
So
right?
that survey, without the fountain and without the greenhouse that you want to do,
Right, well, the
is-
greenhouse is going on the deck. This is an existing deck. And the greenhouse is actually 19 square feet smaller than this deck. This deck is being demolished. We're going to build a new platform on piers. And the footprint of the sunroom, the proposed sunroom is 19 square feet smaller than this deck.
so then your argument would be that you don't need a variance for the sunroom because you're just replacing it coverage with other coverage, and it's even
Yeah,
less.
that's correct. And that was my initial intent. When I went before planning and all, we started doing the calculation, I said, gosh, we started with a sunroom that's 19 square feet smaller than the existing footprint. This is kind of a no-brainer. And then when we started doing the calculations and the numbers didn't match, I ended up going before planning 3 times. Doug Hahn and I were probably on the phone a half a dozen times trying to, get these numbers to make sense. So that's what clouded the entire issue. Again, if it were just the sunroom on the deck, I'm 19 square feet smaller. So with that being said, so this is
What
our,
is-
oh, I'm sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead. Yes.
I'm sorry, how much over allowable are you?
So,
As it
so
stands.
right now, with the sunroom being the 19 square feet less, I am at 5,219 square feet, which is 132.83%.
Okay.
Well, what's the
And
square, what's
I'm
the
sorry.
square footage allowable?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's the square footage on allowable?
The square
The
footage allowed is 3,929.
And existing is?
Existing is 4,997.
And you actually want to reduce,
Well,
then
no,
how-
no, because,
How
well,
much the
because
request-
another cloud in the issue is the fountain. That coverage
Okay.
was never calculated. So the fountain, again, in speaking to Dr. Luthra, I believe the fountain was built after 2010. And when we initially did the calculation for the fountain, we had calculated it at 398 square feet, but it's actually, I apologize, 386 square feet. But I went back and actually measured every stone, because if we go to the photographs, here's the photograph. Oh, I apologize. Here's the photograph of the fountain. You can see that with the fountain, there is planting area in between the pavers. So the fountain is actually less than calculated on the survey. So again, when I did all of the math, I deducted approximately 136 square feet, which is actually planting area. There's no pavers there. And then I deducted the 19 square feet for the sunroom. Now I'm at the 5219, which is the 132.83%.
Okay, so I mean, anybody jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem such a big mystery to me. It seems like a variance was granted in 2009. Is that right?
Yes, that's
I'm sorry,
correct. That's what I
2010.
found. Yes.
Then other things were added without permission, so which pushed it about 350 square feet over what the variance permitted. And that's what we're dealing with, right? I mean, a fountain and some pavers that
And
were
some
never.
pavers, that's correct, because
Right.
we're looking to reduce the square footage by, it's minimal, but it's 19 square feet.
Right, but 300 and 50 some square feet that nobody applied for,
That is correct. That's correct.
right,
Yes.
was added. Is
Yes.
that's
So you want to do us a favor and remove 19, but by the way, give me 350.
right, right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you with that either.
I said that you want to do us a favor and go 19 feet less, but at the same time, you want us to approve the 350.
The 350.
that we're
Yeah,
adding to
well,
it.
I guess that's what clouded the issue also. You know, that's another thing that I didn't anticipate when we did the sunroom. We were just looking at taking the footprint of the existing deck, decreasing it by the 19 square feet. And then when we found out, went back and did all our research, we found that the survey that was on file at the building department didn't have the fountain on it. So that's what increased the coverage. But again, the
How long
initial,
has your client owned this property?
I'm sorry, how long, the Luthers have been, they've owned the house for 20 years.
All right, so I mean, I guess, and again, anybody jump in here, but I'm all in favor of reducing it by 19 square feet, but essentially what happened is your clients added 350 or so
That's correct.
coverage that was not permitted. And now we're looking at a number of 132% over allowable. That's just too high. For me, that strikes me as too high a number, especially when you've been before the zoning board before we were approved. And then went ahead and added coverage without going through the process.
Right. So again, you know, in doing my calculations, the coverage calculations, which Doug Hahn had me do, the property at 33 Hendrick, they're at 154.66%.
That doesn't, two wrongs don't make a right, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
No.
don't,
No, I
don't know.
understand that, but you know, I tried to make a comparison, you know?
no, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, this is, you came through the process, you're not you particularly, your clients went through the process, they were given whatever they asked for from the zoning board in 2010, and then they put down coverage that they weren't entitled to put down, and now they want to come back and say, well, we're reducing it by 19, but for us to do that, they also want us to approve 350 square feet of coverage that,
Or which they never.
for which they never went through the process.
I can't argue that fact, but again, you know, we were
Right.
retained to design a sunroom on an existing deck. So, yeah, I can't argue what you said, but you know, and again, I kind of explained and discussed this with Ed, and you know, he agreed. I'm in a hard place. I mean, I don't know what the answer is at this point. You know, again, if you walk the property, I mean, it's properly drained, it's terraced correctly. We're adding a dry well. Actually, now that we're covering that deck with a 3-season room, we're adding a dry well to pick up the, you know, the rainwaters, which is going to help. So, you know, so we are solving some problems. I mean, I really don't know in which
I
direction to go at
appreciate
this
that,
point.
but look, we get people who come to us all the time and saying, well, the person who owned the house before me added coverage. Can you please approve it? And it depends, obviously, on each property, but I just don't see how we can be in the position of your clients added coverage that they weren't permitted to, and then we approve it 13 years later because they want to take away 19 square feet. I just don't.
Well, I think the other thing is that, and I didn't get a chance because there was snow coverage. So I didn't go in the back. I just up to the front of the driveway. Is the deck that exists back there, is that at grade? Is that grade
No,
level?
it's not. No, it's a raised deck and it's a Trex deck. Yeah, it's Trex. Trex.
How high up?
It's-
How,
Hold on. Let me go to the elevation. So here it is. This is, let me. All right. So again, here's the footprint of the existing deck. Here is our new framing foundation plan. There's the footprint of the sunroom. So the deck is, right now, it's going to be at the same elevation. It's approximately 2.5 feet above grade.
well, because of the grade sloping, right? So at one point,
Yeah, at one
probably-
point, it's, you know, it's 2 rises above grade. Yeah, the grade slopes off, yes. It slopes
So-
towards the front of the property.
so it's the one thing, just to throw some things out for thought, is that you're over, it's at grade, which is pretty much what the deck is in the rear. It's offensive, but you know, you're at grade. And now you want us to not only endorse you being over, but you want us to allow you to build a structure. that's gonna be what, 8 feet high? So the coverage issue becomes exacerbated, right? It's like not only are you doing more coverage of a deck or some stone in the fountain, but you want us to give you approval now to raise another structure that's either gonna be further
Well, no,
impacting
it's
the
not
property.
gonna be, because it's the footprint. That's the issue. The footprint is,
I understand that, but
you know,
for
it's
us,
20 by 16 and a half.
but
It's adding volume.
that's right. For
Yeah.
us, bulk is one issue, because again, that's whether or not we decide that you should rip something out. I mean, that's something we could tell you we're not going to approve it. But the fact that it's at grade, I think it's a little bit, less offensive.
Well, it's at the same elevation of the existing deck. It's,
No,
here's
it's
the
not. It's gonna be-
elevation, that's the existing deck
going up
right
10
here.
feet high.
Right, the roof, but again, and we're adding a dry well to pick up the rain. There was no dry
not
well
an
there
issue.
before. The rain just went into the soil. So, I mean, and again, listen, I'll take any direction. At this point, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell my clients. I have tried everything I possibly could. Again, I went out there and measured the stones to see how I could decrease the coverage. We were retained to design a sunroom, and now I'm dealing with issues that I really don't know how to address at this point.
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
What's
certainly.
not talked about is that there is apparently a shed, which certainly adds coverage.
Well, the
It
shed,
seems-
it doesn't add coverage because there was an existing pad. So he constructed a shed. If you'll notice.
Right, but it is coverage, and to the extent that it could be a give back if that was something that the property owners wanted to consider.
Well, if you tell me if I convince Dr. Luther and his wife to get rid of that shed and we'll get everything approved, I'll go down and help Dr. Luther take the shed down.
I guess the first question is the shed counted in your coverage calculation?
Yes, it is. It is
Okay.
because it was there initially. It's a pad. If you see, this is the survey that was performed back in 2009. It's a concrete pad, and the shed is on the concrete pad. And
how
again,
many do
Dr.
you-
Luther told me the shed was there. I don't have anything to voice
do you know how many
contrary to
square
that.
feet that represents?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you know how many square feet that shed represents?
Yes, I do. Let me go to that sheet and I will tell you. Please give me 1 minute. Screening board, shed, pool enclosure, wood steps from retain rear concrete. Step. You have to give me 1 minute here. That is number 9. It's 103 square feet.
I mean, look,
It's right here. It's number 9.
okay. So I guess I'll give you my feedback, and then anybody else on the board who has any feedback to give, I would encourage you to give it, because we would like to get this resolved at some point.
Yes, certainly. I would also. Thank you.
I think you got to give us back coverage, and I would love to see the shed go. Pavers, the fountain, wherever, it's their decision, but that extra coverage that appeared between the last time we gave you a variance and this time, I think has to go. I take Artie's point about volume. I think in this circumstance, I could let the volume go, just given where it's placed on the property and the surrounding neighborhoods. It's not as much of a concern for me and the way it faces the street. So I would be, if you were literally coming here and giving us back 19 square feet, I would feel pretty okay with that. But I need to feel like something like that is happening and not like we're approving unapproved.
Well, let
You
me
said-
ask you something, if I may. If Dr. Luther is not opposed to removing the shed, that
19.
slab is still there. What do we do with the slab? Do you want it to remove the slab also?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
that's the
know.
coverage,
I
isn't
know
it?
that's the
No,
coverage.
no,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Again, I'm just asking for
Sure.
clarification so
Clarity.
I could speak to Dr. Luther. So in other words,
Sure.
remove the shed.
Actually, your shed's a violation to begin with because you're in the setback, aren't you?
But it was.
Yeah, that was another variance. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not, but yes, you're correct. Yep. Because the pad was always there. The pad was on the 2009 survey from Riley.
It's only a couple of inches, it looks like, into the setback. Is that
That's
correct?
all
The
it
whole
is.
thing?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, does anybody else have any notes?
So you're a give back and maybe the fountain has to go and
Right.
maybe the shed has to go with the pad.
Right. And if we can do that, my inclination is I would be, as I said, the volume, just given where it is on the property and in relation to the house and the street, wouldn't bother me under this circumstance, although it is certainly something we'd look at.
So you're looking
Um,
to have him remove the entire fountain, all the stones?
It's up to you. You've got to talk to your client and find out where he's willing to give back 350 or so square feet so that we're not, increasing coverage.
So, Sarah, I mean, I see it as 472 square.
Yeah, it might be more than 350. Yeah, I
Right.
agree with you.
Okay.
But you can do those numbers. I mean, you know where you're supposed to be, and we'd like to see it there or a little bit less to feel good about this.
So you're
Is
looking
my-
for me to ask him to reduce his coverage by approximately 500 square feet, 400.
Yeah.
square feet.
Yeah,
I wonder if Dr. Luther is attending this meeting now, if he could let me know what his
Uh,
feelings are.
does not appear to be. But you can refer him to, this is recorded, right? He can take a look at this. I'm sure you don't necessarily want to be the bearer of this message. So
Well, I
you
have
can
to be, I have to be again, and the unfortunate thing is that, the unfortunate thing is this was a nice project for us. Design a sunroom, remove some of the
Yeah, I know.
coverage, put it on an existing deck, and then we go to the next job. This will be now coming back to the zoning board for the fourth time. Not that I don't enjoy speaking with all of you, but,
It's,
I could be spending this time, I don't know.
yeah. So that's the direction I think we more or less seem to be giving you. And I hope we will see you next time with something that we can approve.
Okay.
All righty.
Yeah, no, I guess I will,
Sarah, does this need to be renoticed? Okay, so Sarah will be in touch with you if you.
to let me know if I have to do a mailing again.
Sarah says you don't need to renotice, so we'll go with that and hopefully we'll see you next month.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank
you.
you. Okay, so the next case is Fargo Lane, which we are not going to be hearing tonight. So we're going to go on to our new matters. So Muzzy and Gorman, 26 Hudson Avenue.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Sam Vieira. I'm the project architect for the owners at 26 Hudson Avenue. And we are before you this evening because we are seeking 3 variances for a single-story, 11-foot wide by 24-foot deep addition to the left side of the house as you're looking at it from Hudson Avenue. Let me see if I can share screen here. There we go. Can you all see what I just put up, the drawings?
Nope, we cannot see it.
You cannot see it. So let me try this again. I apologize.
There we go.
There
That
you go.
looks more promising.
How's that?
Yep.
Now we
Oh.
got it.
Fantastic. Now let me get my face out of this so I can see what I'm doing, and here we are. Anyway, so thank you for your patience. So effectively, what we're looking to do is in this area over here to add, like I said, a 11-foot wide by 24-foot deep single-story addition. The variances that we are specifically that we're looking for is we are looking for a front yard variance. We are proposing a 19.7 foot setback, which aligns with the existing house. We're maintaining the existing front setback of the house, where a 30-foot setback is required in this zone. So therefore, the variance we would be requesting is 10.3 feet. We are also looking for a side yard variance
For seconds, but that's no more than existing, correct?
that is no more than existing. As you can see
Okay.
in my icon, we are simply carrying that line across.
Okay,
Do you
We
mind-
are also looking for a side yard variance. This is the,
Uh,
I'm sorry?
Dan,
Yes,
make it a bigger. Or a lot bigger.
a little bigger, please.
I'll make it a little bigger, sorry. Okay. Is that a little better?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry.
That is, thank you.
Okay, so also this is the side that we are increasing the footprint of the house towards. And this is where we are requiring a side yard of 7 feet where 10 feet is required. So therefore a variance of 3 feet is being requested. In this particular instance,
Well, I don't mean to
we-
cut you off, and I apologize, but there's an existing, you're intruding already, so what's existing there? If you go to the left side, there's.
this is existing.
I just see something on the left diagram. Can you move can you go, bring us over a little bit?
Yeah, show us what's already,
so
so
what's there
there's
now?
something
So
there
this
already.
is a small screen porch, which
Okay.
effectively it's
Is
going
it
to-
within the setback or no?
it is within the setback.
Okay, so
Okay.
So you're
this is-
going,
you're going another 3 feet farther out.
Exactly right.
all right,
We're pushing out 3 feet towards the neighbor, and we are aligning with the front of the house.
Okay.
Okay. So we made a conscientious decision to stop the actual addition of the house short of the required side yard. So we're at, 10.46 as CAD is showing us, where we need 10 feet. The reason we need a side yard variance in this case is because Irvington sees window wells, even though they're subgrade, as part of the building, and we need an egress window because the owners intend to potentially down the road finish the basement, and so therefore we need an emergency egress and rescue window for code compliancy. And this is a prefabricated unit that Bilco makes, and so it would extend a little bit beyond 3 feet from the proposed addition, therefore leaving us with a 7-foot side yard. And
so
that's-
again, to make sure that I understand that your intrusion is only because of the window well.
only because of the window well on the side yard, right?
I got you.
Gotcha.
And how high above grade does that window well extend?
It
Or-
doesn't,
or
it's at grade. It's at grade.
Okay.
I mean, you might, because it's a slightly sloped site, you might see about 6 inches of it, right? Because typically these things are level and there's a slight slope. But effectively the whole thing is below grade. That's the reason why they exist, so that you can have a window in a basement.
And excluding the window well, the structure, is that at 10 feet or what?
No, the structure is slightly in from 10 feet. It's at 10.46 at its closest, 10.44.
Not- You
excuse
would
me,
not
10.45.
need a variance but for the window well on the side yard.
Correct. It would not need a variance on the side yard, but we will continue to require a variance in the front yard.
Got it.
All right, so
Is that it?
coverage.
No, this is the big one.
Okay.
I wish it was that easy. So, the third variance and the variance that I believe you were going to be paying a lot more attention to is coverage. We have been before the planning board twice already. The initial presentation, and then they requested that we do a neighborhood study to compare the coverage, both existing and proposed, to surrounding properties. So the numbers basically come down to this. Right now, the allowable coverage for this size property is 1,616 square feet, therefore 21%. What we are proposing is 1,924 square feet, which is 25.3%. That effectively leaves us with a
What are
variance.
you, what's existing?
Uh,
What is your
existing it is 1,732. So
Okay.
the increase from what's existing is 116 feet.
So what's the percentage? And I'm terrible at math.
Of
So
the-
what's your
the-
percentage of
the
proposed
percentage-
over
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 the
existing.
existing or over allowed?
both? Do one at a time.
Okay,
Please.
so the percentage over existing, oh, sorry, because I have that number handy. The percentage over allowable is a 19% increase. And the percentage over existing is 11%. So we're increasing an 11, it's 11% increase over what's already there, and a total of 19% above what's allowable.
Okay,
What was the 25.3?
yeah, well, I wasn't understanding that number.
That is the total percentage of the coverage of the whole lot, right? So
Okay.
we're allowed to cover 21% by code. Effectively, what we're proposing would bring it up to 25%.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so tell us about the neighborhood. They went and made you do a whole big study
Okay,
about it.
this, yes, thank you. Yes, lots of time invested in this. So let me sort of pan back a little bit. So what you see here is the homes that we encompassed, which are all the homes that actually are within the R zone, the R5 zone, which is it's actually a two family zone, but we revert back to the R5 zoning requirements. So this is the neighborhood in general. All of these, and I will zoom in, but this is, the chart that we all came up with, and all of the numbers using GIS and tax records, and as much overhead view that we could to come up with the calculations. So let me sort of zoom in here, and what I believe are the important numbers for you to consider. So effectively, what this comparison showed is that we did 4 categories of range for the neighborhood. And I think that this is what the planning board zeroed in on. It's an eclectic neighborhood. And then also, full disclosure, I live right across the street from 26 Hudson Avenue. I'm actually looking at it as I speak to you. This neighborhood, it has a wide range of lot sizes and home sizes. So if you look at the chart that I zeroed in on, which is sort of a synopsis of all the numbers that were above, we have lot sizes that range from 12,530 all the way down to right around 4,600. The property that we're reviewing here is 7,600 square feet, sort of falls right in the middle. The coverage percentage of the neighborhood goes as high as 37.7% and as low as 7.9%. We are at a coverage of 23.2%. Again, very much in the middle. The allowable coverage, what zoning would allow for the lot sizes that we have here, we have properties that are 60% less than would be allowed, all the way up to 62% above what's allowed. This particular project is 9% above the allowable. And then allowable coverage, just a straightforward math, you can cover as much as 2,400 square feet, and as little as 1,100 square feet rounding. And this property covers 1,616. So ultimately, what I believe this chart shows you is, even though from a percentage we are maybe pushing that 10%, we are clearly right in the middle of what the neighborhood character is of the range in all of these categories. So we don't feel, and this is, I think, what the planning board was sort of hoping to feel comfortable about before they referred us to your board, is that we are not creating an anomaly here where there is something that is going to be grossly out of place in comparison to the neighbors. And I mean, that's effectively, pretty much the numbers that we, we have to present for your consideration tonight.
Any questions? Anybody? Okay, I'll make a motion. What you are asking for is, in terms of, first of all, the side yard and the front yard setback, neither of those are particularly worrisome for me. The
In
big
fact,
issue.
one of the neighbors, the front yard is a lot closer to the street.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think those are big asks. The big ask, of course, is coverage, as it very often is. And what you're asking for kind of bumps right up above, right around our comfort level. But it is on that edge, and I think that I would be inclined to make a motion to grant your request. It doesn't strike me that this will be out of character for the neighborhood. I do think your property is sort of right there in the middle and is still going to be, frankly, right there and about the middle of what the neighborhood bears. So I will make a motion.
And just ask a question. Could you tell us a little bit about why we're doing it and what you're doing on the inside?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. So basically, oops, what did I do there? Sorry.
I hate to prolong this, I apologize, but
No, my bad.
And then I just had a question just on, the FAR, just to kind of review what the increase is.
oh, it doesn't request the variance. So
It's not a variance, so there's no variance.
So who
Okay.
cares?
Then
No
don't
variance,
worry
yeah.
about it.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I just lost. How did I lose all this? Oh, there you go. I apologize.
No problem.
Okay. So right now, the house ends right here, and effectively what you have is just a living room and a dining room in the back here, the kitchen, and the main foyer. The addition, which you see here delineated, let me see if I can sort of make that a little bit bigger. The 11-foot addition, which you see delineated here, effectively just moves the dining room and the living room over so that we can create a true entry foyer here, like a little mudroom coat closet, and then also bring a full bathroom to the first floor, because the house right now only has one bathroom upstairs. And so that's essentially, that's all it really is. It's just the addition on the inside of a full bathroom and of a true foyer area here, so that you can go to the kitchen without having to walk through what is now the living room. So those spaces get shifted over, and the living room gets a little larger and the dining room gets a little larger.
And
so
you made a
that's
decision not to make this a two-story thing, which I think is admirable, that it won't be bulking or looming over the neighbors by having just at the one level.
exactly right, because as you can see here, they have the 3 bedrooms up above. And
Right.
right now, the owners have 2 children. They have a full bath up here. So really the need, and this is the roof, as you would look at it, from the second floor down, the need really only is to sort of make the house a little bit more convenient and add that second bathroom, to a family where the children are growing, and, we all know how that goes, right? So.
Yep.
And so that's effectively the reason for the addition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, and we will start with you, John.
Yes.
Yes, for me too.
Yes.
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 All righty, you are approved, and I will send you out a letter by the end of this week.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and good evening, everybody. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All righty, so the next case is Martin, 37 Maple.
Wrong answer.
Good evening, everybody. Trevor Spearman, architect for Nathan and Heather Martin, new residents, soon to be residents at 37 Maple. I believe I've shared my screen. If you can see that, just let me know.
Not yet.
Hmm.
A little delay there.
There's a little echo there. What's going on?
I think so.
There we go.
Does that work?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so this is 37 Maple, newer purchasers of the property. They purchased in late June or early July, I believe, of this just past year. And I was actually part of a renovation to this project back in, I think 2010 or 11 for the previous owners. And this new owner has a requirement to finish out the basement, which of course then requires egress window wells, and perhaps way more importantly is a small stair tower to be added, because it was the only real functional way to add a successful code compliant stairs down to the proposed basement plan. So if it's okay with you, I'll run through the set really quick. Here is our first page here, which is our proposed site plan. Please don't be offset by the shading of this area back here. That is just a construction entrance. We do propose the addition be about an 8.5 by 8.5 foot 2-story structure over here, purely for the stair tower on the lower level on the first floor to bring you down and up to the basement, and above creating a master bathroom. The home only has one full bathroom on the second floor currently. And being a 3-bedroom, quite a nice home, we believe, we would like to put the master bathroom on the second floor of that 2-story addition. In addition to that, we have a small balcony and covered area in the front. But what we're doing is overall, and I'll go straight to sheet 2, which shows our existing coverages on the left, top side, top left, and our proposed coverages. And we actually are proposing a reduction in coverage. And although we still exceed the allowable by 5.3%, I believe currently we are somewhere in the 8 to 9% range. Over the allowable. So what we propose is removing a patio that's in the rear yard here, removing this patio and pergola section and kind of reworking it, and removing a section of existing pavers right here, and also an existing frame shed. And then introducing here on the top right, a slightly smaller patio area with a pergola structure again, but reconfigured to kind of bring us out into the very open yard. It is an oversized lot. It's almost 9,000 square foot in an area and a street that is typically, 4, 5, and an occasional 7,000 square foot lot. And if we look at my neighborhood analysis here, we can see that the shaded areas on the bottom right here are properties that we do not exceed. In other words, all of these shaded properties, all but one in the immediate area on both Maple and the street behind in Willow, actually exceed our coverage percentages, and typically by quite a great percentage. So we believe we are certainly blending into, or not nowhere near exceeding the fabric of the neighborhood. It is a few preservation districts, so we have a very small sketch here. But as you saw by the site plan, it is a very subdued, small addition. So it's this addition here with the small covered patio area here, where we have a small balcony on the second floor. This is our new patio area. And then we have an egress window well and landing platform for egress out of the family room to appreciate the side yard. And we have another enlarged egress window well here. There is a window well there currently, but we are enlarging it to be fully code compliant. If we were looking at a north-south direction, our addition would kind of take place right where the small vegetable planter was placed by the previous owners. We've also done tree studies as part of our planning board application. We're recently planning board approved. And here you can see, let me zoom over, top right is the new master bathroom proposed. On this level, on the first floor, we go down to the basement, and here is the proposed basement plan, which adds livable space for our family. This is the front elevation from Maple. The situation is it's at the very end of Maple. It's the last house on the left at a dead-end street. And this structure, this component here would be a little bit hidden. You'd have to really pull up to the very, very end of the street to even see or appreciate it. And then you would see just the balcony extension here. On the right side view, which is also the southern view, this is what it would look like. And it's really this piece here, about 8.5 by 8.5 feet, plus the covered patio here. And then you can see the pergola structure would be over on this side with the patio.
Can we just go back for a second? Can you just go back to what we just looked at for a second? One more down. So on the diagram on the left, is that what you have boxed? Is that the new addition right there?
Yeah. So the area of addition I label typically like this. So it is this, but it is not out at the face of the property. It is actually beyond a little bit, particularly this area. And it is also existing on the first floor here. So this
that did not-
section, the addition.
That did not exist before this, correct? There was nothing there.
There was nothing here.
You don't require FAR, you don't require side yard. It's just the coverage, which is basically the dimensions of the footprint, what you're adding, correct?
Yeah, well, also in anticipation of, us creating a nicer patio experience, we've removed more patio than we're actually creating. And we've removed the shed and an area of pavers just to make
Right.
sure that we're actually reducing. So this is a total reduction of area. So we're down to just a request of 5.3% over the allowable, which is probably about 1/5 or 1/6 or 1/7 of what is typical in the neighborhood over the allowable.
But you are replacing at grade patios with a bulk, even though you don't require FAR. Correct?
I'm sorry, what was that? At grade patios?
You're removing at grade patios, but you're not replacing it with the structure of building obviously has bulk. It's a 2-story structure or addition.
Correct, but if we see this as a north-south representation of the site, which is, around here, we're adding in this area here, which is actually right into the very center of a site. And as I stated, it's a almost 9,000 square foot site where very often, people are doing small additions on a 4,000 square foot lot. So it's a very small and very subdued kind of thing. It's also screened. There's no neighbors to the south. It's actually part of the school property. There's a path that kind of works its way through here and then right in front of my client's property. So I believe that the bulk concern would not really be of concern, certainly to the neighbors, I don't believe.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I will make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to approve. It's a pretty small ask in terms of coverage, and the fact that it's reducing coverage is a big bonus to us. And already did note that you're adding bulk, but given the way that property is configured and the neighborhood is configured, I don't think it's really going to impact any neighbors in any significant way. So I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Right. Start with you, Charlie.
Yes.
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 Okay, you are approved, and I will send you a letter by the end of the week.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.
You.
Thank you.
All right, and our last case of the day is 205 South Broadway. Do we have anybody on that?
Hi, good evening.
No?
Hi. Good evening. I'm Christina Griffin. I'm a principal architect at CJ Studio. I'm here with Suzanne Levine, the project architect, and we're here to ask you for two variances. And these variances are for additions and improvements to a single-family home that is at 205 South Broadway. You're looking at the 3D rendering of the house. I'm going to go to our site plan. This property is in the R40 zone, and we are asking for variances to the lot coverage and also to the floor area ratio. These variances are necessary in order for us to make these small additions. The variance for lot coverage are actually in order for us to do additions that increase the footprint slightly. Actually, the lot coverage variance is mostly related to this path that we have from the main house leading to the carriage house. This is in order to give a defined walk from the across, instead of having to go through the driveway, through the lawn. The floor area ratio variance is in order for us to do an addition to the kitchen, which is that area here that we're pointing to. That addition is actually is just filling in an existing porch. So we are not increasing the footprint, but we are increasing the FAR. We're also adding an addition to the right, which is on the second floor. This is on top of an existing sunroom. And another addition we're adding is actually outside of the kitchen, which is an underground exercise room. All these additions are done just to in a way to really harmonize with the house and to minimize any increase on the FAR and the lot coverage. Over to the right are our zoning calculations. With regard to lot coverage, existing is non-conforming, and the existing house already exceeds by 31%. Proposed is an increase of 210 square feet. But that 210 square feet increases the coverage from 31 to 35%, which is actually a 3.3% increase. Our second variance for floor area ratio.
Let me just ask about the coverage first before we go on to FAR.
Sure.
Am I understanding correctly that all of the coverage that you're adding is at grade? So you're adding,
Yes,
right, paths and things like that are just, you're not adding bulk necessarily. It's coverage on the ground.
yes.
Well, you are adding to the primary building, right?
Well, that's where the FAR comes.
I think that's just FAR.
No, I'm looking at the coverage chart and it says additional 208 feet, but you're also removing a rear porch at 208 feet.
But they're building a path from the house to the carriage house.
No, I understand that. I see all that is the 210 feet is going to be the pathway and all that, but there is an additional, something's being added to the structures, a 208-foot primary building addition, is there not?
I think they're filling in a porch.
This is filling in an existing porch.
I'll bring up a picture. I think maybe it'll be clearer.
Yeah, let's look at the photographs.
Yeah,
This is the existing porch. Suzanne's pointing to it.
right. Back here.
Yeah.
Let me get another view. This is it from an existing porch
Yes.
that we're filling in. And so in the coverage calculations, we're just we sort of shifted that 208 square feet, but it's really it's not adding any additional lot coverage. It's just adding finished floor area to the home.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the rest of the coverage that you're adding is just pathways.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
The reconfiguring the entry to the secondary entrance and the path and a new stair here to allow access to the carriage house without going through the driveway.
So I'm going to let Suzanne take you through the details so we can give you a little more information about this. We're going to start with photographs of the house. So you can see it's a really elegant turn of the 20th century Queen Anne home. And our goal is to really minimize any increase in the bulk. And it's just to make the house more comfortable and make the kitchen larger and add a dressing room to the primary bedroom suite. But I'll let her take it from here so she can go into a little more detail.
Okay, right. Good evening. I think the pictures are a good place to start. This again, this is the primary entrance to the home. But you know, as so often is the case, you know, the back entrance is really the one most people use and the kids use. It's not really very well defined, and the way that it is set up, there's a door that goes directly into the kitchen. So, you know, the idea was to reconfigure this entrance to create a mudroom before entering the kitchen and to create a more well-defined secondary entrance. And at the other end of the house, there's an existing sunroom here, which we are preserving. And there is an addition, a second floor addition to allow the creation of a primary bedroom suite, which we'll show you in plan. I just want to note that that second floor addition has, you know, a lot of care went into the design of it to have a low roof line, to introduce dormers, to really you know, just make it as quiet as possible, and of course to harmonize with the existing home. I brought this up briefly before. This is our lot coverage diagram, and you can see this is existing, and these are where our additions are. This is our below grade addition. And again, it's the introduction of this stair here, which adds to our coverage, the reconfigured path, the reconfigured paving here. You know, that secondary, the existing entrance is really hidden. We really wanted to define that so you know where to go in. We've also introduced a low garden brick wall about 30 inches high here to separate the entrance from the active driveway. These are our floor area ratio diagrams, which we can refer to if you have questions. I thought I might just look at the existing floor plan just to explain a little bit why we're doing the additions. This is the existing kitchen, and this is that existing porch, and the door goes right into the kitchen. And as you can imagine, this is where, you know, all the backpacks and shoes and go. So we'd really like to, you know, the owners would really like to create a separate mudroom space before entering the kitchen. And again, creating, instead of just having steps right in, you know, right up to create a porch area here. At the second floor, this is the existing primary bedroom, and you can see the existing bathroom is quite undersized. It also, in order to get to the walk-in closet, you have to go through the bathroom. So they really wanted to improve that, and we took a good look at how we can have an addition here without impacting the coverage, and because there's an existing sunroom here, we thought it made sense to build out over this. It also gives us access to this underutilized roof deck, which we're improving with new railing and decking. And before I take you to the plans and elevations, these are some 3D studies that we did to just show you how that will look. This is the existing porch that we'll be filling in, and you know, introducing a roof overhang at the entry to really define it, picking up on a lot of the half timbering details and brackets and panels that we see around the home to make it blend. And on this side, you can see the sunroom, and this is our second floor addition. I think we can see it a little better here. And this is the second floor addition above this existing sunroom. And this is that mudroom addition. This is the side of the second floor addition that links to the existing roof deck. And we'll be replacing this railing with a more with turned balusters and detailing that ties into the house.
Alrighty.
Quickly, I can take you to the plans if you would like, or
Well, are there any questions at this point?
I don't know that we went over the numbers on FAR.
Yeah, can you give us the numbers on FAR?
yes. So our the existing house is over exceeds the allowable by 9.5%. With our new finished floor area at the mudroom and the dressing room, we are exceeding the allowable by 15.9%. So that is an increase of 5.8%. It's a total increase of 426 square feet to the floor area ratio. I will, add that we did do a neighborhood analysis, which examined how much the surrounding properties, look at their lot coverage and floor area ratio. When we examine the lot coverage, we see that, the 14 surrounding properties all exceed the allowable by but ranging from 11% to 129%. If we average them, on average, they're about 50% over the allowable. For our lot coverage, we are the existing is 31% over the allowable, and with the additions, we're at 35. And similarly, with floor area ratio, we see many houses over, some under, but when we average the average home is about 20.8% over the allowable FAR. And the existing house at 205 South Broadway is at 9.5, and with the additions is at 15.9. So we feel it's in keeping with the neighborhood and yet, under many of the other homes in the neighborhood.
Right. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, then I'll make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to approve. It's not a huge increase in coverage, and most of it is at grade levels, so it's not really too imposing. And as you've pointed out, it is sort of in keeping with the neighborhood. And the same thing goes by FAR. It's not a huge increase in FAR, and it is rather in keeping with the neighborhood. So with those thoughts in mind, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
And I'll just say that it will enhance a beautiful home.
Yeah, it will. Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank
So that helps a little bit too.
Yes, it does. It does. So do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, John, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Yes, for me.
Yes.
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 All right, you are approved, and I will send you a letter by the end of the week.
Great.
Terrific.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Night.
Brilliant. I think that's it.